Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. We're joining you live from Stein Studios in Ratmalana. On the 4th of April 2018, the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister would be tabled in Parliament. And in light of the political crisis within the United National Party, where they've lost confidence not only in Parliament but also in several local government bodies, we decided to talk about the political crisis within the United National Party. Also on our topic tonight is an interesting area, that is, in the backdrop of the former governor of the central bank, Arjun Mahendran, who is still at large, we've invited to our studios two guests this evening who can discuss and who can voice their opinion with regard to the current state of affairs within the United National Party as well as the central bank. Among them, one of them, of course, is Maitri Gunratna, General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front, an individual who is still at heart as far as the UNP is concerned. Thank you very much for joining us once again this evening.
Thanks for the invitation.
Show tonight. Also, we are expecting the arrival of Minister Sujiva Senasinghe, the State Minister of International Trade. He will join us momentarily on the show. We're expecting him to be on the show in a few minutes from now. Let's start off tonight's discussion with Maitri Gunratna, General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front. Maitri, interestingly, the political crisis in which the United National Party has fallen into and the no confidence motion that is going to be tabled in Parliament on the 4th of April has shown weak leadership within the United National Party. And why has this come up to this point? This has happened since 1994 and now it's 2018. We've seen this for nearly 2 decades now. Why is it continuing? Your time starts now.
Samir, the weak leadership of the UNP was detected as far back as 2004. Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, having assumed the duty of the leader of the United National Party in 1994, continued till 2004. And it was at that time that the party decided to appoint a committee to check as to why the UNP was not gaining any progress since 1994. Because normally, after a defeat of an election, during the next election, the party comes back to power. So, since 1994, we were unable to come to power. And in 2004, as I have pointed out earlier, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe himself appointed Mr. NGP Panditaratna and 13 other eminent personnel to go into the shortcomings of the UNP. So, once they went into the shortcomings of the UNP and they submitted a report, that report very clearly stated that the main issue with the party not winning elections was that the party leadership did not respond to the needs of the people, and the party leader was not a person of the caliber of Mr. J.R. Jayawardena, Ranasinghe Premadasa, Lalitha Tulatmudali, Gamini Disanayaka. He was far away from them. So, on that basis, they made several recommendations that he should change his ways if he is to take this party forward, and if he does not, it is going to lead to catastrophe. I have got the report with me, I have said it on many occasions, it is going to lead to a catastrophe. So, notwithstanding that, without changing his ways, he still continued to lead the UNP, and this report never saw the light of day. This report was never given to its members, nor to his parliamentary group, nor was it given to the working committee, which is very, very close to him. Then subsequently, in 2009, there was another committee, the continuous loss of elections. So when the UNP loses an election, what they do is they appoint a committee and try to get a report from a committee. So in 2004 also, the committee, it was the R.S. Jayaratna committee, even that committee very clearly stated that Ranil Wickremesinghe should have gone long time ago. So that those recommendations were never adhered to, never listened to. He still continued to throw them away and continue.
Maitri, I want to pose a question to you because we now have Sujiva Senasinghe, who is the State Minister of International Trade, in our studios this evening as well. In 2013, many UN peers got together and wanted a change in leadership, and one of them, of course, was Minister Sujiva Senasinghe, who very clearly at that time said that there needs to be a restructuring of the United National Party. And we saw in 2013 one of the protest march that you organized went haywire. We saw with the recent report that was out that it was the personal assistant of Ranil Wickremesinghe who has even organized this particular violent incident in question as well. But my question to you is, why is that? UN peers are now shying away from this no confidence motion. What is the reason behind this?
I think that question you'll have to ask.
No, I will ask him that question, but you are a UNP at heart. You are a UNP at heart. Why is it that the UNPs are shying away? We saw a lot of individuals. We saw even Sajid Premadas at that time coming to the forefront. However, now backing away and now making several statements that are very, very favorable to the Prime Minister himself.
Yeah, if I may answer your question, sometimes I wonder, because there are a lot of new MPs who have got into Parliament, and I don't know whether if, they are worried that if there is a dissolution of Parliament and they will lose their pension, maybe one concern, because of the privileges they have got. Now once you serve for 5 years.
Sujiv is not a new MP in
no,
Parliament.
I'm not referring to Sujiv.
Yeah.
I'm not referring to Sujiv. I'm referring to, there are a lot of new MPs who have got in from various areas and all parties. Now, and I think there is quite a number of them even in the UNP. Now, they may be having some kind of a doubt whether they will receive this pension if it is dissolved prematurely. And then
such a petty agenda.
Well, that's unfortunately the case. That's unfortunately the case. And then I am told, Samir, I don't know whether this is correct, but today I heard Almaria Ichara Kerala. That is UNP ki Almaria Ichara Kerala. So that is, I mean, lot of money may be changing hands. That's why there isn't very much opposition from within. So these may be the reasons why most of them are silent.
I also want to take you to the central bank bond controversy. Last week on this very show, you were very vocal about what had taken place when we tried to say that there were issues of corruption within the previous regime. You said, no, let's talk about the corruption that took place now. Let's talk about the last 2 to 3 years in Sri Lanka. The biggest corruption scandal was the central bank bond controversy. How do you recollect now about the incidents that occurred on that day and now? And do you think that the leadership of the United National Party is trying to protect any individual?
Oh, definitely.
Who are those individuals?
The leadership of the UNP has been very clearly protecting Mr. Arjuna Mahendran from the very inception. And if I may substantiate that issue, that statement, now when the bond issue came out in 2015, what the Prime Minister did was, he appointed a 3-member committee from the UNP consisting of 3 UNP lawyers and submitted a report saying that there was nothing wrong. So from that point onwards, he was hell-bent on protecting Mr. Arjuna Mahendran and also justifying that there was no corruption. The bond issue was completely free of any kind of corruption or malpractice, and he wanted to go ahead.
And let's put it in a chronological order. The committee was appointed, and then a book was also written by Sujiva Senasinghe saying that nothing went wrong, and then we figured it out that something did really go wrong with the central bank bond controversy, isn't it, Maitri?
Sujiva had written a book that I know.
You have not read this book in question?
Pardon?
Haven't you read this book in question?
I have gone through the book. And in 2015, it was in 2015 that the three-member committee was appointed, and the three-member committee gave a report to the Prime Minister saying that there was nothing wrong. It is the same issue that subsequently two Supreme Court judges and another gentleman sat.
You're not talking about the book. I'm talking about chronological order. The book also states that nothing was wrong.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
No, but that was before the.
Right, I'll get back to you. Yes.
Why are you so concerned about the book?
Right. Joining us
That's the only
this evening is
subject you
again.
have.
Thank you very much, Maitri. I'm getting back to Sujiva Senasinghe, State Minister of International Trade. Sujiva, thank you very much for joining us this evening. You did accept my invitation when I called you on Sunday, and despite your demanding schedule, it's always nice to have you on the show. Quite bold indeed. So let's start off tonight's show with the book itself. My question to you, I've been wanting to ask you this question for many, many months now. The question to you, the first question to you is, let's say someone robbed your house, let's say hypothetically. Would you go to the robbers and ask them, how did you rob my house? Or would you get some expert advice as to how the robber managed to rob your house? What would be your initial reaction?
I think example is wrong. Like example is wrong. I'll give you another example.
Right. Please go ahead.
Let's take your institution. They say it's a TV station. They say that the license were given unfairly or in a not a legal manner, and this comes to probably the COPE committee, and then probably you're one of the people who will come and will state what happened, how it happened. And COPE committee is a committee that I'm not the chairman. We can take any stance, we can ask any question, we have the right to, and we can't, and as you know, we can't bring public citizens also into COPE committee. We can't make it compulsory for them to come to the COPE committee. As you know, even Mr. Prasanna Jayawardena, who said after about 6 months, for him to understand the bond issue, it took and he was in the bank for about, mind you, for about 15 years. And then he was a lawyer for about another 15 years, and he was a Supreme Court also for about another 2 years probably. And he said, I don't think even you know what the bond issue is. I don't think even so many experts talk about bonds. I don't think that they know exactly what it is. It's a very complicated matter. So for us to learn what this was, it took so many months, so many years. I'm not a bond expert.
So why do you write a book?
Yeah, so that is what, how I, after
if you're not a bond expert, why did you go ahead and write a book?
That is after, when I started, I'm not a bond expert.
No, what prompted you to write the book? You say
after
you're not a
going
bond
through,
expert.
So listen.
We know you're
no, Shamir, why don't you listen? Why don't you listen to me? Because
I would, but I want an answer.
No, but
I know, why you wrote the book.
I know. With your invitation, I came here.
Yeah.
So
why do you write the book?
Your specific target, I know. It's a book, and you asked
we are
about
not
UNP.
targeting you.
No, so let me
why
speak.
Did you write the book?
Let me speak. I've been honourable to come to your doorstep after slandering me for so many months, so many years. You didn't have anything else.
Why did you write the book?
No, so let me answer. So give us a chance.
Yes, of
you
course.
had your say for so many years, so many months.
Of course.
And you never gave us the opportunity.
Yes. Why do you write the book?
So after going through, as he said, as Maitri said, the commission report and Due Gunasekara Commission. Can I read the Due Gunasekara Commission report after all the first COPE committee what he wrote? Did he ever find? And once I produce
Did he
a
ever
book,
find what? You stopped there.
Shamir, once I produce a book, I had a press conference and invited all the press, including Sirasa. And I challenged anybody who would want to discuss about the bond issue at that moment with the limited information we had. Sirasa was there, all the other stations were there, but nobody took my challenge. After 2.5 years, after post-mortem, after the commission going through so many, about 1 year, leading evidence for about 7-8 hours a day, they have come to a certain conclusion. But the first COPE committee, the second COPE committee, none of those committees came to that conclusion.
So you were talking to this individual.
So if I let me
yeah.
You have time now, so let me slowly get into that.
Yes, yeah, okay.
So then and then you started slandering the people who sat in the committee and who made the footnotes. And the footnotes after the detailed discussion on the footnotes, myself, Harsha De Silva, Ajit Perra, and couple of other people, going into details. And the commission report held that all the footnotes were correct. Did you have the decency to come and tell that you called us like, you called us rogues? Footnotes Kalliya, footnotes Huru. Day and night, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you did that. Did you have the decency to say?
Let's talk about.
Let's talk about what I want to talk about, not what you want to talk about.
No.
Listen.
No, I did
Please listen, Shamir. Now you give me. Let me explain.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Let me come to that. Let me come to that.
If not, the people
will
think that we're just
no. People might think that you are trying to work out something.
No, I'm not. I'm giving you 3 minutes each for every question I'm asking you. I'm giving you 3 minutes.
So let me
also get some clarification from you. So now you're saying that you spoke to an individual in question who was implicated in this bond scam over 100 times.
No, not 100 times.
How many times?
The report, I don't know, report says about, I think, 20 some odd times.
So the report says over 20 times.
Yeah.
However, you spoke to him, you kept the phone, you spoke to him once and said, okay, I'm writing the book, so I need some information, and then you kept the phone again, and then you called him again, and then you kept the phone again, and then you called him again. I'm trying to figure out how was this conversation
It doesn't
going
work
on.
that way. No, when you call me for the program,
Yeah,
it's
you
not
call
that
me
you call
twice.
me once, you call me twice, you call me thrice.
So then,
It's
how
not
many
that.
calls would you make?
It's not important. It's not important. The commission has held.
Yeah.
Once we given the calls, and all the information was taken by me. And after from the 2008, nobody had this information, and
So
I
I want
got
to
that
open
information.
Right.
And even Ortagen's report, and they say it's on assumption. It is wrong. The commission says
I
that.
want to open the floor for questions.
So
Yes.
let me one by one,
Yeah.
because you are asking complicated
No,
questions.
yeah.
So let me answer
Yeah,
one
of
by
course,
one.
I'll give you all
You're
the-
jumping from
No, I'll
jumping
give
from
you-
the book. You're jumping from
No.
the call. You're jumping from another one. You're targeting.
The problem
I
is,
know
you're
what.
saying,
But
no,
don't
I'm
do that.
I'm asking one simple question.
I was decent
My-
enough to come
my
to your
question-
program, so give
Of
me
course,
time.
of
You
course.
asked about the
My
UMP.
question-
You jumped to the book from there.
Absolutely.
And then
So my question is very simple.
and for the calls.
No, my
And
question is very simple.
Let me explain. Let me give
No,
you
let me-
details.
no, let's-
and
I'm
show
asking
you.
you one
Let me see
question.
your knowledge also on the bond issue. Since you have spoken so much on that.
Let me ask you one question. My question is, if you are not an expert on the bond, you
Yes.
say that,
Yes.
why did you go to write a book, and on whose wishes and whims and fancy did you write the book?
On my wishes. Let me answer now. On my wishes.
Okay.
I went through, I sat on that. I'm the one who asked the most of the questions from Arjun Aloysius. I asked him, what's your connection to Cabral? I'm the one who asked every question. Isn't it conflict of interest for you to be the son-in-law and then to deal in the bonds as well? I did all that. And when I even wrote the book, when I even presented, I said there's conflict of interest for sure. And that was there. But I went on the technicalities. On the technicalities, if you see the commission report, and as he said, the Maithya said, he came to the right point. And even the Supreme Court said, you can't compute losses like that. And there's a Supreme Court order. So we went through, as lawyer, I went through all that. And then after going through all that, we sat in the second court, and the footnotes were about 30 footnotes we managed to bring in. And the commission held that all the footnotes are correct. I have one by one. So those footnotes, if I am correct, and is that your biggest problem in your, there are rogues. And you have spent about, I think, 20 or 25 times defaming me in your station. Saying that, and you put my, even yesterday you put my picture in a big,
We'll get back
big
to that
circle.
in a minute.
So what's the point? You want to target people and then you want to destroy people? Is that your...
We'll explain to you, Sujiva, as to what happened in chronological order as the show goes on, so you'll understand as to why the allegations are leveled at you. And you
No,
will
I
definitely
can
get to
answer
the
all
point.
that one
of
by
course,
one.
We'll give you that opportunity.
Chronicle order.
Of
Let
course,
me also
of
answer
course,
in
we
that
would.
order.
Of course, we would pose those questions, and that is why one of the reasons we only have Maithya Gunratha today sitting on the show, to give an equal opportunity to both of you to discuss about what went wrong. We are a very fair network. We've given an ample opportunity to individuals to express their views. In fact, when Minister Sujiva Senasinghe was berating one of the former President's son in Parliament, we were one of the networks who went ahead and put that those views as well in Parliament.
And against me also. Latterly.
And that's very important, because when you use your parliamentary privileges in the House, we have to always ensure that it's put and given due time. So let's start off the Q&A from our journalists. We have on my immediate left Nadeem Majid, on my far left we have Farah Shaukat Ali, and in between them is young Chaturanga Porachi as well, who was appointed as Assistant News Manager just a couple of weeks ago. So let's start off tonight's show with Faraz.
Right. Thank you, Shamir. You were asking Sujiva how many telephone calls. Plus or minus 5. The total, according to the Commission's report, was 223 telephone calls. 63 of them made during the currency of the second corp. That was the total. But that's not what my question is. My question is this. It's to you, Sujiva. It's good to see you on a program again. My question is this. We, right from the 1st of March and then again on the 8th of March 2015, our network highlighted a potential problem, a conflict of interest position. On the 1st of March, not much reaction. 8th of March, the reaction had started. The Prime Minister 9 days later deemed it fit to come to Parliament and make a special statement. Now, the Prime Minister is not a person without qualifications. He is a trained lawyer. He's a qualified lawyer. And at the time, he was the Prime Minister of this country for the 3rd time round. He didn't do anything about it. He was a trained lawyer. He could have, all he had to do was get his secretary to call the Registrar of Companies and ask them whether Arjun Aloysius, whether there was a conflict of interest, because by his own testimony, he had asked for the conflict of interest position to be removed, and he relied on the assurances given by his friend, Mahendran. But this is not some private transaction. This is the country's money. My money, your money, everybody's money. The Prime Minister, very shamefully, he didn't do anything about it. I want to know whether you agree whether the Prime Minister did the right thing.
No, it was the wrong thing. From the beginning, I said it was a wrong thing. Actually, I personally told him that one of them should go. One, the central bank governor, or the son-in-law. So I had a personal conversation with him at the beginning. And I stated that.
As far as you need to give an opportunity to
continuously, no, he can. Continuously, I maintain that there was conflict of interest. The conflict of interest means that there's a probability for something wrong to happen. 80 to 90% chances are that something wrong will happen.
And Sujiva, with the benefit of hindsight, we now know that it was an enormous loss. There was a big loss to our country. Whether it is 1 million or 100 million or a billion, we know that there was a loss. And the statistics speak for themselves. But the Prime Minister didn't stop at that. He continued to defend this man. Why?
That question you have to ask the Prime Minister.
But he's the leader of your party. You're a young man.
Yeah.
You're in politics not for the short term.
Right.
I believe you're in politics for the long term. As a young man, aren't you worried that the United National Party has no future with a leader who cannot act?
For us, I am. And that's why I have been fighting from the time I got into politics. I think the first few years I was in the provincial council, I didn't have the might to fight in the party. And as Maitri knows, I've been in the party fighting this battle for a long time. Not just 1 year, not just 2 years. You know, as a person who works for an institution, how difficult it is for you to maintain there and to survive there and to fight against your boss. And it's not easy. And I have been doing that. And with your institution as well. Right along, I have taken a stance. I have never shun out of taking my stance, and I have stated that, and Maitri knows that. The only time I went a bit quiet after we came into power, and that also because we all did that together. And then he's a Prime Minister, he's given a chance, and we gave him the chance. And inside the party, I'm the most vocal MP, and that's why I'm a State Minister. I came number 2.
Minister, will you take a stance on the 4th of April? Will you support the no confidence motion?
I will take a stance. I don't know which stance I will take, but as you know, I would pose you the same question. You know, your constitution is not the most, I think the white as a lily white, if you take, you have problems. But can you take a stance while you're working? I have to take a stance. If I take a stance, I have to decide whether I have to come out of Parliament, whether I have to stay in the UMP in the future.
Minister,
no,
Minister,
let me finish, please.
State Minister,
Shamir.
no, but
Shamir,
your example
please,
is wrong because
please
this
let
is-
me
people have appointed
no,
you.
listen
The
to me.
people from the Kadua electorate have appointed
so
you
point-
to go to parliament.
So that is right.
So you have to take a stand. So,
So,
what
so
is your stand going to be on the 4th
let
of
me finish.
April?
Kaduela people appointed me from the UMP, not
Yeah,
from
so
not from
on
the
the
general
4th of
public.
April, 4th of April, what would be your decision?
So let me explain. Why are you in a hurry? You have how many hours
I
you
have
for
1.5
the,
hours
you
to
want
take
you
time.
just want specific answers. You want about the book. You want
I
on the
want
book.
to- I
You
want
have
to know
that's
about
all
the
you have
book.
been
I
trained
want
to
to know
ask
about your
today.
stand. I
So
want to
be
know about-
patient. You are a
I
very
want
smart
to know
young man.
exactly-
Be patient. And because
I want to
I know you have
exactly-
been told that. Ask these two
No,
questions.
no one,
and
no,
get
no
fixed
one
on that.
influenced me.
No,
Sujit,
like-
that is
like
that
this,
is no, no, that is a lie.
He asked me-
No one,
no,
no,
as a-
no, no one
from a
influenced
young
me.
man to another young man.
Another young man. Can I ask the answer the other young man?
Yes,
and then
sure,
come?
No, of course,
So what
of
he
course,
said
you can go
was-
ahead. But Sujit, to
no,
be
no,
very-
listen, Shamir,
Sujit,
Shamir,
no one
Shamir,
has
please,
no one has
Shamir.
told me to ask any
No,
questions,
Shamir,
to be very
please,
honest.
Shamir, please.
And I'm asking you these questions
Shamir, it's
on
very
the
unfair,
basis
it's very
of an
unfair.
individual
You want me to
who
sit
wants
here
to
and
know
you
as
ask
a
me questions
journalist
and then
as
you
what
want me
was
to answer
going on, what was going
So
on.
let me answer
So on the
it.
4th of April, what would be your decision? Very simple.
I'm not going to answer. Wait. I'll answer the way I want to answer. I'm not going to
right,
answer
okay,
the way
right,
you want
okay,
to
so,
answer.
okay, go on, okay, tell me.
Wait,
Okay.
you have been given 2 questions, then you are going to finish that, and what are you going to talk after that?
We have 1.5 hours. So 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. We need
So,
to, we need to
Shamir,
know.
be
State
patient.
Minister,
4th of
let's
April.
come back.
Minister,
Let's
trust me, there are a lot
Like
more than
these-
2
like
questions.
these two-
Can we
Trust
go?
me, yes, of course.
There are a
Be
lot more
patient.
than 2 questions.
Yeah, no, I
What
know.
would be your stance on
So
the
what
4th
I'm
of April?
saying is, he said that the Kaduela people and the Kalam people have appointed me. Number 2, I came after, and these people are UMPs. The UMPs, I can't ask every UMP what they want me to do. If I ask the UMPs, they will say, vote for the Prime Minister. I've asked most of the UMPs, and if you take Sadip Premadasa, Buddhika Patra, and all of us,
Mr.
who
Senasinghe,
fought
you
with
were
him.
second in the Colombo district with
That's right.
200,000 plus votes. You're saying that these are all 200,000 plus of them were green-blooded Kapwat Kola UMPs?
No, not Kapwatkula, but for UMP. Majority vote came for UMP. It's UMP and then me.
So did all 200,000 of the voters who voted for you at the general election also vote for your party at the local government authorities
No,
election?
they didn't probably. They didn't.
So that sort of goes
So, but
against your
I am
definition
answerable- I'm
of
answerable not-
distincting of differentiating them as UNPers and general public.
No.
Aren't
but-
they all general public?
No, they are general public, but my votes came from the UMP, and that's why we can't cross over and take decisions what we want to do. Once you're appointed from, I have a responsibility. So if you see,
Minister,
I need to
yeah.
take a decision. Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If I take a decision to vote against the Prime Minister, then I have to take a decision politically, whether I'm going to go out of the government and the UMP, whether I'm going to join Gotabe, whether I'm going to join someone else, or whether I'm going to, like my 3, be an independent person, and we'll fight out there.
Amidst all of that, State Minister, what is the right thing to do? You're giving us options.
The right thing to do is, this is brought by Mahinda Rajapaksa. We are not going to entertain something that which he has not even signed. Inside the party,
But the joint opposition's argument is the signing is not the problem, the vote is the problem. So
Yeah,
we
that's-
don't know it.
So why should we cater to the joint opposition? Why should we be a pawn to the joint opposition? What we have done in the party, we have said we need the change.
So
we need the change.
you at the moment, right now, when we speak, you don't have a problem with the leadership of the United Party. You think that the UNP can continue under its current leadership.
No, I can't answer directly because it's what I do inside the party. I do inside the party. I'm not going to be a hero, come here and criticize something and go inside and do something else. I won't be managing as a state minister if I had been protecting my leader. I would have been a cabinet minister by now. I would have been holding a big position in the party as well. And the presidential election, I was one of the people who was instrumental to bringing this government into power. But after all that, Colombo doesn't have a minister, cabinet minister, and I haven't still got that. But I'm not going to sacrifice, as you said, our future, our party's future, just for me to get a position. And
Minister,
on the hindsight, because of that,
Nothing. Let's move to Maitri now for a
inside
minute.
the party. Don't
Give
get
10
angry,
minutes,
Shamir.
10 minutes. I've given
Now
you
you're
10
getting,
minutes. I give 10 minutes. Let me speak to Maitri now. Maitri is also a guest tonight on the show.
I know,
Shamir,
I know. You tag
I was
me.
coming to
fair
you
and
next,
square.
Mr. Gurunatha.
You have to be fair
I have
and
a
square.
follow-up question.
So
to
Maitri,
Minister Senasinghe.
your point of view. Now, you hear Sujiva Senasinghe trying, in his opening remark to Faraz, he said, yes, there needs to be a leadership change within the United National Party, but when he responded to Chaturanga Porache, he says, I don't want to openly come and criticize. So, in your opinion,
No, Shamir, please don't put words into my mouth.
you did.
I
you did
never
mention
said
Faraz's
Faraz
opening
asked
question
a
was
different question. He asked a question on the bond issue.
Yeah,
on the bond
Whether that-
issue.
not
on the
about the
bond issue.
leadership of the party.
He did ask you about
No,
the
no, he
leadership
didn't.
of
You go back and
No,
go
I
back
will-
and check.
No,
Go back and check.
question.
So, Maitri, my question to you is, are you satisfied the way in which the United National Party has conducted itself since the 8th of January 2015 polls? There was good governance, there was change that people envisaged, and then there was corruption. In your opinion, do you think that the UNP young members, young ministers like Sujiva Senasinghe should have done things differently within the United National Party in the last few years?
No,
in particular?
the issue is, Samir, most of the MPs in the UNP, now even Sujiva, there has been a large investment with regard to time, money and commitment and career to get to this position of becoming a member of parliament and then becoming a minister. So, the question is whether anyone is willing to just throw it out on a matter of principle and take the bull by the horns. So, that is where the problem lies. Now, for instance, with Sujiva, the campaign from 2010 to 2014, 15 against the party leadership, Sujiva played a major role in the parliamentary group. He was, as a young MP for the first time, he led the whole thing. I would say that, and it was very commendable. But now,
no result.
no. The result
No,
will
don't
come.
don't put words in his mouth.
Result will come.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
Don't
I'm
put
saying
words in
no,
his
no,
mouth.
no. The point
You
is
get
this.
Maitri to talk.
No,
point
he's
is
very
this.
friendly. Let us.
No,
we are good
don't do
friends.
that.
Don't worry about that, Shamir.
Maitri, yes.
Now, my question is this. Now, he says no
Very
result.
aggressive, no.
No result. Now, government having come in 2015, Sujiva agrees clearly that the bond scam was wrong and the Prime Minister was wrong in the decision she took, to the question Faraz asked him. So, what I am saying is, if you have discovered that the leader of the party is wrong on a matter of public importance, like the central bank, that is one of the biggest frauds which has been perpetrated in this country. And having done that, if anyone continues to be silent thereafter, then that is questionable.
A question to you directly posed by Maitri.
Very, very good question. Intelligent question and a very good question.
Intelligent question. Wow,
coming from a
that's
lawyer,
nice.
not like you. Not getting excited.
Intelligent question. I like
Not getting emotional.
I like the way that you put in words into Maitri's mouth and
Not
then
getting emotional.
he answers and then you start
Shamir,
talking.
Cool
Yes,
down,
okay,
cool
moving
down.
on.
Shamir, you are my
Moving on.
friend.
Okay, you have a question from Maitri.
Okay, that I would do after discussion in the party. We have done that. I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to give details. As he said, I led from the first day I got into parliament, and I led that. I with Maitri Gunratna, with a lot of us, we did that. And even now, I do the same thing inside the party. But my surprise is that you only mention my name in your esteemed media organization. You don't mention Buddhika Patirana. You don't mention Mangala Samaravira, your good friend. Now he's all of a sudden he's your best friend now. No, but like no, his circle doesn't come in your TV circle. Rajya Sena Ratna, these are the two now.
Minister Bangla
Who's standing,
Samaru's
who's
name
standing?
went on the news tonight as
Tonight,
a member of the
on the
UNP
show,
working
saying that
committee.
But
he's a
that I
working
think
member.
something must have happened. I was
No,
watching.
but
nothing
you were
happened.
not
all
you
this
were
time-
not
informing the
news
public
tonight.
who
all
the
this
members of
time,
the working
it was not
committee are.
informed.
Yeah.
He, once he
You were
became
not-
the finance minister and this thing, and I think you all met him and had a cup
We
of
were
tea
just
also.
introducing the public
and,
to the
and you
members
made
of the
friends also
working
with him, I
committee.
heard, which
No,
is
no,
nice,
no.
which is nice.
He has been to all the channels. If you are not mistaken.
Sujiva went
after
to
all
all
that,
the channels.
Faraz,
But that is not what-
Nadeem.
No, anyway,
Let's
no,
give an
no.
opportunity to Sujiva to express his views.
Thank you. What
That's
I
important.
so
Yes,
all
okay.
and I have seen you circling my face, and you have a agenda to destroy my political
No,
career.
not once.
No,
We
not you, not
circled
you,
your
not
face
not
a
you.
couple
Listen,
of times.
listen.
Yeah.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
If you are here seated here, you will feel the same. If your
No,
son or your brother
of course,
seated here,
of course.
it's nice for you to sit there because
Yeah.
you're guaranteed your position in the in the organization, but you have to sit here and face it.
No,
What have I done?
yes,
What have I
tell
done for
me,
you to circle my about 25, 30 times in your TV station, always saying that Suji, what is this? Suji, what have I done? Have I robbed? Have I done anything wrong? I have written a book, and I am still standing by the book. I have all the COPE committee, the footnotes we have stated, and all the commission says everything is correct, spot on. And why did you go on saying that we were wrong? We were rogues for saying that and every single one. They have gone one by one. Harsha Disilla, myself, Ajit Perra, we are two lawyers and then doctorate. And we sat on it, we went through it, and that is what and 2008, who brought it? We brought it. 2008, without any mandate from the monetary board, they brought direct placement system and they continued until 2015. So we brought it, and that's how the commission came into conclusion that almost about 4,000 billion rupees without a system, they brought it forward. So that is what we did in the COPE. I didn't go and say, did I influence from somebody from the CID, somebody from the central bank? Did I tell them to give wrong information?
So now Faraz mentioned about 223 calls. Tell me what the contents of these calls were.
I don't have to need to tell you. If you want to talk about calls, you come to my place, we'll talk about the calls. And I am, as a COPE member, I can make my calls. What is this? It is relevant to note here that this is a commission report and about the calls. So you go but read the commission report without being a voice piece to somebody.
You can read it.
Right, I read it. I'll ask you whether you know this.
Yes.
Have you read the commission
I have
report?
read the commission report. Read the
what does it say?
Read the contents of the report.
I'm asking you, what does it say?
I am asking you, read the
about
contents
the calls,
of the report.
what does it say? You tell me.
It says that you have made these calls 223 times.
You have not read it. You are not read it. You are just being a mouthpiece. Don't
No,
do that.
no,
Shamir, listen.
You can't
read it. No, you don't blabber just because you have a seat there.
My question
okay,
is,
I'll read it to you. Listen,
223 times you call. What was the content of these calls?
I can make my calls. I don't need to tell you what my calls are.
If you are a member
who are you to? You are not the police. You are not the CID. Who are you to read this? How many calls you must have made to girls behind your wife's back?
I am not married. I am not married, Sujit, by the way.
So then someone else?
On the wife's back.
Am I asking you how many calls you have made?
No. My question to you is, Sujit, very simple. The question is very simple. My question to you is, what was the content of these calls? Because at the end of the day, people in Colombo want to know.
Right. Not in Colombo, all over the country.
Of course. So tell me, yes, what was the content of these calls?
So my calls, as stated in the commission report, if you have a camera.
We do not have a camera to zoom in, but you can read it.
It's on Sujiva MP 36 incoming telephone calls, outgoing. I don't know the numbers. Let's say what are the numbers?
Yeah.
And that is how I made the calls, and that is how I got the information from 2008. If I show you all the information, nobody had this information about the central bank. And this in 2008 it says, and this was brought by me to the commission. The monetary board approval is sought. This is 2008 for the proposal rate structure to be used for direct placement of treasury bonds and rupee loans in respect of capital investments such as EPF, NSB and ETF.
Statement out of curiosity, didn't you have any other friend that you could call to ask this information?
No, I can call you. I can call anybody. What is your problem?
I don't have a problem personally with you.
You mean to know about the bonds?
Yeah.
No, so he was the best. Couple of people I called, about 10 or 15 people. We were sitting for about 6 months in this COPE committee. So when we get a question, when we don't know what bonds actually is, treasury bonds, all these bond issues, how they are placed, how they are taken, how they are bid. We have no indication.
But Minister,
please, for us, because when the Auditor General and the rest of the crowd, I'll give you one by one the evidence that they gave. And Professor Asim also said there's no loss. And then deliberately we took a decision, the board took a decision, and governor was not in the board. So those evidence, we took those evidence into consideration at the beginning.
Just to step away from the topic for a bit. When you answer about the UNP leadership problem, when we question you about that, you are very methodical, you're choosing your words. But when we very quickly change the topic to the bond, you seem a bit agitated and you try to...
That is what you want.
Talk about a wife that I've never been married to.
That is what you want, a complicated matter. UNP leadership, what do you have to say? What is the technicality about UNP leadership?
We'll go back to that.
UNP leadership, no, listen to me. UMP leadership, you ask him, is it good or bad?
Yeah.
And I have to say good or bad, that in the way I know.
Yeah.
But in a bond issue, you're asking me about the cause. You're asking me about the book. You're asking me about another one. It is you. Even you don't know
Can-
what it
can
is.
you- can you just
so it's
provide-
easy for you to. You have been asked by your management or whoever.
No, 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 no.
Ah,
Sujeeva, Sujeeva, please.
So let me.
Sujeeva, let's not go there, Sujeeva. Let's not go there,
So why
Sujeeva.
are you getting agitated?
Sujeeva,
Why
let's
are you
not go
don't know?
there.
Why
No,
are you
let's
so
not-
scared?
Sujeeva,
Don't be
Sujeeva.
scared.
Sujeeva,
Shabir, let-
I
listen
want
to me.
that's a
Listen,
false
listen.
let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Why are you getting worried?
No,
Why
we are not getting worried.
You're like
Sujeeva,
you're like
let's
a
not
guarantee.
go there. Sujeeva,
Management की होगा, you
Sujeeva,
jump up and down.
Sujeeva,
So
let's
let
not
me
go
also
there. Let's
talk.
talk about-
This is your program.
No,
So
let's
I'm
talk
saying
about-
only question
But
that
you're
you
not-
want to
you're not
ask is
answering.
about the calls and about the book. So let me explain
Sujeeva.
one by one how
Yeah.
those calls came about. What is the knowledge I gathered from those calls? Let me show you
Okay.
one by one.
Can you,
Why are you
just,
getting-
Yeah.
can you kindly provide some clarity? When you asked about the calls, you said, apparently you said that you made these calls because you were writing a book.
Yeah.
Now it transpires that these 63 calls were made plus or minus 5, okay? 63 calls or 62
62.
calls
it's not
were
wrong.
made
Wrong.
during...
Shabir is wrong. You are not
Okay,
ready.
during
It's
the
36
current-
incoming calls
plus
or
or
26
minus 5.
outgoing
Yeah,
calls.
yeah,
Plus or minus 5.
Yeah.
Were made during the during the sittings of the second COPE.
That's right.
Now, the problem I have is that the book was published in 2015.
Spot on, spot on. I'll answer.
And then your calls
Yeah.
in... So
But
that's
Farah,
the clarity I want.
Thank you very much. You asked a very good question. Clear
Intelligent
that I
question.
can answer. So I have never spoken to him before the first COPE.
Right.
First COPE, I'm the one who asked him all the questions. I'm the one who clarified everything. And from what I gathered, I came into a conclusion.
Right.
And that is the conclusion D. Gunasekara also came.
And you wrote the book.
And I wrote the book. After a while, I wrote, after the first COPE, I think, right?
In 2015.
Right. So then once I start talking to you on a matter, and then the next scope started.
Right.
And during that time I have spoken to him couple of times.
Yeah.
And then when that matter came up, then new things revealed in this new COPE.
In the second
2008, all the documentation came from that COPE.
Right.
We never had, so that was the I think the most important factor. 2008, how this direct placement and auction system.
Yeah, but tell me about the calls.
So to clarify all this,
Yeah.
we picked up I picked up about 200 documents from various people.
But not to write a book.
Not write a book, to get information for the next. So from first book, we didn't
So
have
were you a little bit rushed when you made that when you said that you made those calls because you were writing a book?
No. So they when I had I was bold enough to come as soon as we had this problem. I came for a press briefing.
Right.
And on the press briefing, I said I started making those calls when I wrote the book.
Ah.
But they didn't clarify when did you write it. So the Facebook picked it up and said that he has written the book from this to this period, and he has made the calls, and how did he make the other calls?
So
They never asked me the
what
question.
you're saying now is you're saying that in 2015, prior to writing the book, you did make some calls, but by the time the second COPE came, you made several more calls.
Yeah, that's correct. And after the COPE, and we came into a determination. I have the decency. I have the capacity. Even if I talk to you, I'll get some information. But if I have to say that you're wrong, I should be able to say that you're wrong.
Yeah, but did you not think that it's a little bit questionable or unethical to talk to these guys whom the COPE was questioning 62 times or 63 times during the sittings of the second
For us,
COPE?
that is the problem. This is what you don't understand. You don't understand what a COPE committee is. You think it's a court proceeding. It's not a court proceeding. Now, for instance, we sit in the COPE committee, Lanka or something else. We make so many. We talk to them. We make calls. We gather information, and the COPE committee members can do that, but not the chairman. Chairman must sit in the middle, and we have the ability to talk to anybody. And there's not a code of conduct that you can't talk to these people. We are members of the public, and we are representing the public.
Minister,
and we can
are you aware, just talking, because we're talking about the same subject, are you aware that there is a letter that was sent by the central bank to COPE, but it reached after the report was out,
That's right.
in which they clarify each and every single footnote? The central bank. Are you aware of that?
I am
letter?
aware of it. Can I give you the answer also?
Please do.
Who is the central bank to make clarification on our footnotes? We made the footnotes against the central bank, against the finding of the central bank. And they were wrong to send a clarification to.
Why not? Why not?
Central bank is just another official in the COPE committee.
So they must sit back and just take what you
Otherwise,
as
if they want to, they can come to the COPE committee and say it's wrong, and we don't take what they say. It is the chairman who will decide.
Yeah.
Central bank, because these are against the central bank also.
Yeah.
Once you realize the determination, couple of determination on all the officials, not one official.
Right.
So who is the official going to tell us that we are wrong and I am right?
So the governor of the
So central bank, the governor also would have done the same thing and said, COPE, you are totally wrong. Central bank takes a position of this person.
But the fact is that they wrote and they clarified those points.
That is wrong. So how did then the commission? I'll give you one by one. If you give me time, if you give me 10 minutes,
No, can't
one
give you
by
10
one.
minutes. I'm very sorry. Can't
Okay,
give you- so
when you have time, since you asked the
I
question, I'll give you.
But you are aware of the letter.
Faraz, we have
I
no
am
time.
aware. I am aware. Not only that, I'm
Q&A
aware.
session. So let's.
Even the commission held that all the footnotes are correct, spot on.
I want to get your opinion about all this. You know, you have Sujiva Senasinghe trying to mention about his calls and so on and so forth. Let's look at these in chronological order. Minister Sujiva Senasinghe published his book in July 2015.
No, chronological order is wrong. You had one more before that.
To the Committee of Public Enterprise of the 8th Parliament, established on May 16, 2016. Minister Senasinghe replaced MP Velu Kumar, who resigned on the 7th of July 2016. During this period, 36 incoming calls and 26 outgoing calls were made, according to the reports that were published.
Repeat telecast?
None of these 62 calls.
Why to record it and Shamir? Why
None
to
of these
record this
60
and
calls
that's
were
all you have been told, I think.
about the central
It's a
bank.
shame, Shamir.
It was not about.
Talibov,
You're not letting me talk.
No,
I'm asking a question.
you asked me and Maitri to come to this program to ask about UMP. You're talking about the book. You're talking about the calls, and you have been given an answer to that. You're like a repeated rat saying the same thing. Put a record and go. Give it to somebody. Put a record.
If it was
What
about,
is this?
if it was
It's a shame, no,
if it was about the UNP,
It's a
you won't
shame.
bring that book.
It's a shame.
You won't bring that book.
No,
if
it's
it was
a
the
shame.
UNP.
It's a
Well,
shame.
let me
You
ask
have been
question.
asked to ask two
Let
questions.
me ask a
and
question
move
from
beyond that.
Maitri. Wait, Sujiva, calm down.
No, I am calm. I am calm.
Okay, right.
You have been
So
instructed
62
on two
calls.
questions, and that's all you talk
Sujiva,
about.
so you're not letting me ask questions.
That is
Why don't you
because
come here and why don't I
can't
come
imagine
there
you're doing
and you
this.
ask me questions?
No,
and
you
I
have to walk out and put a record and go.
Right, so
The
62
calls.
62 calls have been made. Now, none of this related to the book in question that Sujiva published. The question is very simple. In your opinion, what do you think that the people of Sri Lanka think of the United National Party at this point of time? Trying to defend the former governor of the central bank, Ajay Mahendran, trying to defend Ranil Wickremesinghe as the leader of the United National Party and also as the Prime Minister, who was responsible for the central bank at that time. Minister Ravi Karunanayake, the former foreign minister, who was embroiled in this whole incident, and we know that he has bought apartments, so on and so forth, which is all in public domain. What do you think the people have, the trust, the faith in the longest running political party in Sri Lanka?
Samir, I think the people have at every election since Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe took over power very clearly showed their confidence in the UNP and him by not voting the UNP into power. Now, that is the people speaking at every election, and that's why after every election they have to appoint a committee to see why these losses have taken place. Now, that is the confidence the people have in the UNP with regard to its conduct. I want to come to a point where Mr. Sujiva Senasinghe mentioned that they don't want to be a pawn of the JO. Now, why he says it is because the JO submitted a no confidence motion to Parliament against the Prime Minister, and therefore the UNP is going to take a decision just because the JO has produced it to the forwarded to Parliament, that they are not going to support it. Now, my question is this: if something good, whether it is JO or BO or CO, submits it to Parliament, and especially with regard to the bond. Now the motion of no confidence is nothing other than
The bond.
The bond which now every person knows, which was the biggest fraud in this country. So, my question is this: if that has been brought forward by anyone, shouldn't it be helped? Shouldn't they support it and get rid of this person who is causing so much of irreparable loss and damage to this country? Irrespective of the GAO, if someone has bought it, I would say if I was in the UNP, if I was an MP of the United National Party and if this had happened, I would have bought it even as a private member's motion in Parliament to get rid of the Prime Minister. Because once we have come to know, once we are convinced.
You can say it, Maitri, but you can't do it easily as you.
No, I have, Samir.
You have to look at the practical aspects of it as well.
I have gone in 2010.
And one of the reasons you were ousted from the United National Party was because you were
correct.
against.
So if you
when you have people like Sujiva Singh who is sitting on your left, you need to be a bit fair by him as well, where he needs to protect the party and the political leadership as he mentioned before.
The point is protecting the party and protecting the leader are two different things. Now, I think, I don't know. If someone proves that I'm wrong, I will accept it. I think from the very inception, we were trying to protect and we were protecting the party support, not the leader. If the leader was doing the right thing, we would have definitely protected him. But if he chooses to do the wrong thing over and over and over and over again, there is no way which I don't think any right thinking person will protect him. So what I'm saying is
you're a lawyer. Now you're a lawyer, Maitri. Just imagine that you were in the COPE committee, and if you got a call from someone, how would you react? A member who has been accused. Now you have Ajit P. Pereira making 2 calls, Dayasis Jayasekar 2 calls, Hector Puhami making 23 calls, Harshan Rajakaruna making 23 calls as well. How would you react if you were a member? Because now you say if you were a member of the parliament, you would go and put it as a private member's bill, motion in parliament. But if you were in the COPE report, how would you react to this?
No, Samir, as a lawyer, ethically, we are not supposed to even talk to a person whom we are opposed to.
Ethically, you are not even supposed to speak to someone who. But Sujiva says this is not a court proceeding.
No, it's a quasi-judicial proceeding.
Okay.
Now, what the COPE
this is what I like about taking 2 lawyers at the same time.
The COPE is
on the show.
Now, Parliament, the power of the judiciary has been by Parliament has been the Parliament's power of judging or of dispensing justice has been given to the judiciary. But if the Parliament wants, the Parliament can sit as a courthouse, and that is the COPE. So, it's a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Parliament has assumed the functions of a court and is going into finding various.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike.
Can
I will give you an opportunity, Sujiva, but I have a question for you, and then you can respond to it, and then you can give your thoughts on what Mike said.
This and then.
No. Let me pose a question to you.
This?
No, you won't forget.
You want me to forget it?
No.
You want me to forget it?
Knowing you, Sujiva, you will definitely not forget it. Okay,
Write it down,
and then you can pose the
it?
question. Sujiva, Sunil Handuneti, who was the chairman of COPE, said that they too also received many calls from Arjun Aloysius with regard to influence them to take a different opinion or a different stand on the COPE committee proceedings. Maybe these 62 calls were asking you to act differently, or was it to influence you at the COPE committee report?
Thank you very
much. You can pose that, you can answer that question and then respond to.
I will answer that very well. Thank you very much.
Right, okay.
Now, the commission went into your cause thing. And Maitri says it's a quasi court, can't give orders, can't give directions, just a recommendation that we can give. At the COPE, we don't have what did you say, the opposing side. There's no opposing side in a COPE. And private citizens also cannot be even called to COPE. If they want to come, they can come, otherwise they cannot refuse not to come. Only government officials can come, and that not under oath also. What you give. So whatever you say, you can't held in court, you can't held liable. The commission went into this. your biggest question is that you are asked to come and pump me on this call
No,
thing
no one asked you.
and make my career
No one did.
and destroy me and
No one
make
did.
sure that I lose Colombo
No
next
one did.
time. So
No
fine,
one did.
fine. Thank you very much.
We need people like you in Parliament, so we have a
no,
story,
I know, but
Sudhir.
you will be.
Yeah.
I know, but okay, you have got directions. Okay, fine. It is relevant to note here that this is about the cause. The commission now, there are two judges, no, Prasanth Jayawardhan and Chitasiri. Footnote 32, factual accurate. Sorry. Telephone calls between a few members of COPE and Arjun Aloysius. So they go into detail on this. And what do they say? It is relevant to note here that all the members of COPE, including the 5 members of COPE listed above, have agreed with all the general recommendations made by COPE in its report. As stated earlier, this commission of inquiry has found that the footnotes made by 9 members of COPE, including 4 of the members listed above, are in the main limited to factual observation, and that these footnotes are not incorrect or unreasonable. Please read before you ask questions.
No,
No,
were you
listen.
influenced?
No,
Were you
let me
influenced by
finish.
Abdullah
Let
Shah?
me finish.
Were
Let
you
me finish.
influenced?
Don't take.
Okay,
Let me
were you
finish now.
influenced? Okay.
We also note that these 9 members of COPE, including 4 of the members of COPE listed above, have recommended, by way of footnote 26, that an investigation is held to ascertain whether Perpetual Treasury Limited has made large profits by the sale of treasury bonds in the secondary market to the EPF or other state-owned institutions. So justifying what we did was right. We made the calls and we made a declaration against perpetual treasuries. That is what you need. I can ask questions from you if you come to COPE. I can ask questions from you, and I will tell you your license is fraudulent.
So
and I will tell you, I take a note from you.
So
You
Arjun
give me so many examples.
Mahendran being at large right now, not being summoned or not coming to Sri Lanka. How do you view this as a lawyer?
It's wrong.
So you think action needs to be taken?
Action needs to be taken.
You think action needs to be taken against the Prime Minister, who was the minister in charge of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka at that time?
That is not how law works.
How
As
does the law
Maitri
work?
says, there's a different action on that.
Okay,
and
what's
for
the
the for I think Maitri's one I answered.
okay, so
Maitri
yeah.
one answer. No, wait.
Okay.
So if you are wrong, I can't take action against these 3.
But if
I have
these
to
three have abated this
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Aiding
to
and
say in the
abetting.
commission.
Yeah.
If it was there in the commission report that he helped and he's wrong, then action would have been taken legally against
So you
him.
mean to say that if a forensic investigation is conducted based on what the commission report recommends, if the Prime Minister is found guilty of aiding and abetting, action should be taken against
Definitely
him.
not Prime Minister, you, me, or whoever, President,
Thank you very
action
much.
must be
So
taken against anybody.
We need to go for a short commercial break now. Some extensive discussions in length about the political crisis with the United National Party and also the central bank bond controversy. Now I regret, why didn't I even turn out to be a lawyer at the end of the day? If I was, Sujay would probably trust me without me pointing out the number of calls he made to Arjun Aloysius during the COPE proceedings.
Why do
So
you check how many
stay
times I
connected.
repeated that?
Stay
If
with
it's defamatory, you want to
Nation.
defame me, you
We
do
will
that,
be right back.
Samir. But don't destroy young politicians in this country.
Welcome back. This is Face the Nation. We're talking about the political crisis within the United National Party as well as the issues that have cropped up with regard to the central bank bond controversy from day number 1. I move my attention to Sujiva Senasinghe, State Minister of International Trade. Sujiva, Maitri brought out a very important fact. Since 2010 to 2014, you've been very clearly articulating the fact that the leadership of the United National Party has to change. Because of that, we've seen individuals like Buddhika Patrana being sidelined completely, who came number 1 in the Mathura district. You've seen individuals being sidelined for going against the leadership of the United National Party. What do you think should at least happen now? The voter base of the UNP has deteriorated drastically over the last few years, and that's a well-known secret. People know what is happening. What do you think should really happen within the UNP right now?
There need to be a radical change. and I have to take a decision, and as you said, if everything is going to be hunky-dory, if I take a position on the no confidence motion, and I will take it. But you have to assure the decision I take, there are going to be results, there are going to be change, and I am willing to sacrifice my ministerial post, my member of parliament post, all that. But you can't use me as a pawn. That's what you all most of the time do. You make pawns, you use people, and you throw them out. So that's not going to. I'm not going to. We have played this game with your institution. I have played this game over and over again. I was your best friend. Then I got involved in the bond issue. No, let me finish.
Sujiva,
You have been asking like a parrot. You were saying that the Aloysius call. So let me finish. Let me finish. When you ask a question, Shamir, for God's sake, let me finish.
No, so but when you say radical change,
you can't get what you want like your news.
No, radical change. Radical change. What's the change? What's the change?
You do that. You can't do that.
Radical change. When you say radical change,
in a program like
when
this,
you say radical change,
so listen to me.
No,
Let
radical
me finish.
change.
Let me
What's the
finish.
radical change you require?
Let me finish. Just because you want, you can't use pawns. You use people, and you support people you want to support. You destroy people that you want to destroy people. This is from the public money. These licenses are given. You can't, from the whims and fancies that you want. You can't create people. You can't create leaders. You can't destroy people. What have I done? What wrong have I done? I stood by you all when Mangala Samaravir attacked you all. I was the only person in parliament who spoke against him. No one did that. And you all forgot it very fast. And you made friends with him after that. He attacked you. Kurundupolu, all that he did. And what I am the only person. You all have been supporting so many parliamentarians. I am the only guy. Got a speech from Ranil Wickremesinghe. Got a speech from John Amartunga. And I spoke on behalf of your institution. On behalf of your leaders. And I took him on. And they punished me for that. And we have done that. And inside the party, I have to take a decision whether I am going to make that fight inside the party, Sadiq Premadasa, all of us. Or are we going to come out of the party and fight like Maitri?
So is there
I have
right
taken
now?
a decision so far to stay in the party and fight. So I don't know. Let's see.
Are there any discussions going on?
I may be in Maitri's camp one day. I may be not. But I am a person. I have always stood by my self-respect, and I have had principles.
Are there
I have
any
always
discussions?
stood by my principles against the Prime Minister, against the President, against the ex-President. You know that. Against Basil Rajapaksa, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa. I fought.
2014, as Maitri correctly.
But you can't destroy people when you want to destroy people.
I'm asking a question.
You're not the people who decide politics in this country.
Sujiva,
You want to
2014.
You want to take decisions in the country. You want to be the driving force. You want to take decisions. You want to do all that.
Sujiva,
using your institution. You can't do that.
Sujiva, 2014, as Maitri correctly pointed out, you had two different camps within the UNP. You had a camp supporting Sajid Premadasa to become the leader of the UNP, and then you had another camp who was supporting Ranil Wickremesinghe. Right now, are there camps within the UNP at present, as we speak right now? And are you supporting any camp at the moment?
No, there was no camp. So that is why Maitri and them had to leave the party. No, after that struggle,
No, we were sacked.
After that struggle, Maitri and them, and I kept my friendship with Maitri. I have never spoken against Maitri, and I honor him for what he is doing. He has not joined another party. But actually, when you are thrown out, I don't know. It's very difficult to stay in the middle and fight this fight in the UNP. Either you are pushed to another side.
For us.
And I am not in any camp. But why don't you give? And you put my circle yesterday in your news, and you put my face, and then there are people who support Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe overwhelmingly openly.
Right.
But you keep quiet because these guys are powerful. You choose a young politician and destroy him, and then use him for everything that you need to. And your aim is to destroy me. Let's see whether you are going to destroy me. It's up to. I'm not bothered. I can
Thank you very much, Sujiva.
I'm not going to know. No, this is the third grade media.
But in fairness, if they wanted to destroy, they would have not got you here and
no. So these are first.
No, correct. No. But you have to be fair.
Yeah.
If they wanted to destroy, they could have gone on that path. But now at least they have given you an opportunity to come and explain. Not that I'm trying to hold a candle.
Can I explain?
Yeah, but in fairness, they have given you an opportunity to come and explain.
Can I explain? I was called not to make explanation. I was called to probably grill me on the questions. He had only 2 questions. No, you have to fair. What is the fair?
I moderate this show.
Y'all, I'm waiting for your question. But in your question, Aloysius calls your book. That's all. There's nothing beyond that. So you have to, in fairness, if they want to ask me questions,
I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. I can give Maitri an opportunity as well to speak, right? Okay, Maitri. To be fair, by Maitri has a party now called the United National Freedom Front, Sujit, if you did not know.
I know.
His son is also a councillor of the Colombo Municipal Council right now, if you didn't know. Probably
I know.
But
no, I know everything.
Yeah,
I know all that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't know and you're putting him down also.
you know all that, but you didn't know the fact that I'm not married, unfortunately.
Well,
anyway,
moving on. Once have been nudged.
So moving on. Maitri,
that they were not supporting you on that.
Maitri, you have a lot of individuals. You have a lot of individuals within the UNP who want change right now.
Yeah.
You heard Palithavaraparam today, a few days ago, saying that he might even support the no confidence motion. You have Palitharange Bandar, who's openly criticizing the party leadership at present, who is also state minister, by the way. What sort of change must these young MPs or even the old MPs should really instill? You have individuals like John Amratunga coming and saying, I can also be the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. I am the most senior person in the party right now. If that happens, or if something of that sort is going to happen in the next few days or next few weeks or next few years, what is going to befall the UNP? What's going to happen?
I couldn't understand your question.
No, my question is very simple. You have party seniors like John Amratunga coming out and trying to say that they might be the suitable candidate to be the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. If that happens, what sort of fate is going to befall the United National Party?
No. My position is, Samir, anyone other than Ranil Wickremesinghe is okay. Even if John Amaratunga is the leader of the UNP tomorrow, he will do a better job than what is happening presently.
Somebody will succeed.
And as I in another program I said, there is a senior office assistant by the name of Dhanapala at Sirikota. I have said, Dhanapala is better than Ranil Wickremesinghe. You put Dhanapala, he will do a better job as the leader of the UNP. Anyone other than Ranil Wickremesinghe will make the UNP come onto the correct track. And these radical changes, they are talking about all radical changes. Now I have got an article here where they say high-powered council to run UNP. This is in 2013, the leadership council. Does anyone hear about the leadership council? So I am made to understand on the 29th they are coming out with another concoction like this. Some high-powered council where Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe will be there. They will make someone, 3-4 other people deputy leaders and try to hoodwink the people again and think that everything is okay and go for another election, same result. Until and unless he leaves the UNP or is removed or thrown out from the UNP is not going to go on the road to progress or success.
The young Harin Fernando making a statement very clearly articulated that he has not been able to give jobs to his electorate individuals like those who supported him. You also saw a few occasions in which Minister Sujeev Sen Singh also very clearly articulated that he has not been given the right position within the United National Party as well. He just mentioned that he is now a state minister while he has to become a cabinet portfolio. However, people like individuals like Harin Fernando has now been given the Ministry of Foreign Employment as well. And then I remember he saying a few days ago that this opportunity is good enough for him to give some jobs to the people and do a service to the nation as well. What happens to individuals like Sujeev Sen Singh if that's the case? Is he going to be sidelined forever?
No, I of course feel that Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe is one person who will never forgive anyone who has gone against him. right? So whatever Sujiva may think everything is tickety-boo,
No, I agree with you.
right?
I agree. I am
Right?
said no.
But Sujiva may think everything is
No,
okay.
I don't.
Yeah, right.
And you
so,
know that.
So
When I
no.
spoke
So
to him-
the point is, when by putting him to international trade or whatever, I mean, I don't think many opportunities are there for giving jobs,
No,
right?
I have no power at all.
No power at all. So what he also he will want to make use of Sujiva. He will want to silence him because he was a powerful voice in the 2010-2014 campaign. So to silence him, he has given him a deputy ministership, and what he normally does is he gives a ministry where you go into oblivion. So that is what has happened with Sujiva. But Harin, fortunately, they are given in the foreign employment ministry, and I think he should be able to make some headway because you can get a lot of foreign employment, and if you canvass more, you can get very much more jobs in foreign employment.
So you're saying that Sujiva has got the wrong end of the stick?
No, that
He
is what-
will
no, that-
always get, that will happen.
That
That
is
will
what-
happen.
that is
Even
why-
now, even Buddhika, the problem with Buddhika is because Buddhika has been completely harassed and sidelined because the last election, not this election, he defeated Sagal and he won the Matara district. So that is the animosity Ranil Wickramasinghe has against Buddhika.
You take the responsibility for that
Yeah,
statement
I
that you
take
made.
full responsibility for that.
Yeah. Okay,
And
so I open the floor for
Shamir-
questions. Let me open the floor for questions from our journalists. Let's start off with Chaturanga.
Minister, I'd like to
Nadim, let's start off with Chaturanga and then get back to you, okay?
Mr. Senasinghe, a question to you. Now, last week or the week before, we heard Minister Sagala coming forward and saying the restructuring of the party will be done before the 31st. Now, he mentioned about several committees that have been appointed. Are you a member of such a committee?
I don't know whether I'm in a committee. I'm not aware me being in a committee, but I've asked to come for a couple of meetings. So I was very straightforward in what I had to say. As you say, and you all actually give mixed signals, and you say I've been sidelined, and then you say I'm not taking decisions on behalf of the party. And the reason I've been sidelined is because I've taken decisions. And as you said, my ministry, my gazette says a mediator for a couple of hardly any. It's like a mediation chairman.
Mediation board chairman.
Mediation board chairman. I don't have any powers at all.
Have you taken this up with the leadership of the party?
Not about myself. I'm not going to complain about. I can easily get a cabinet portfolio. If I do the right thing, certain people want, I'll definitely
What is
get.
that right thing?
I'm not going to.
No, but statements by not doing
safeguard
it.
certain people. To safeguard not as what you were thinking.
But
In short, if you toe the line.
Sorry.
In short, if you toe the line.
Yeah, it's kind of. So you know that I can't in public.
It
there
goes below toe in the line.
No, and certain things I can't talk in public, as you know,
But
for us.
Sujiva, you know, I look at you and I see an educated young man with gilded prospects to make a difference for our country. And yet, you seem subservient, you seem tolerant of a failed leader who loves the champagne lifestyle. But he is unable to be elected by the people. The record speaks for itself. 40 years in Parliament, 23 years as the leader of the United National Party, 4 times the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, but with 30 electoral losses. Why on earth don't you guys get together and ask him, show him the door?
Can I answer, please?
Yeah.
Don't ask me this question again because it's not easy to answer these questions.
I'd like a straightforward answer.
Straightforward. I have been always straight. As Maitri says, inside the party, I'm the one who has taken that decision. But it's very difficult to collect people to have the same decision. As he said, Buddhika Patra never speaks in the group meetings now. And I am still very vociferous. I still have, I say what I have to say. And I still voice my opinion.
But State Minister, you sound like you have accepted defeat already.
No, not defeat.
But
I'm
you've
saying
got to
not
make
defeat.
it-
I'm
you've
saying
got to
what
start
defeat?
somewhere.
What
You
defeat
have
for
to
whom?
start somewhere.
We have accepted defeat in the election. I have accepted defeat in the UMP, and I know UMP had been. I know where UMP should be.
There are a
I
lot
know
of
we have to
people.
take UMP if we are given
If you are given the chance.
chance.
You are not given the chance.
We are not. But what do you want me to do? You want me to take a decision and come out, or
Well,
stay
that's
inside
what
the party?
that-
And no, for us,
But
let me-
once again, a question that I asked you before. In that choice that you're saying, do you want me to get out of the party, or do you want me to do whatever the other thing that you're about to say? What is the right choice, State Minister?
right choice have been taken by 55 people. Maitri is in the middle. Others have joined the other side. They have taken the same decision, same way what you have spoken. They have been spoken long time ago.
But no result.
No, the result is there. They have gone to the other side and strengthened the other tyrannical power. And that is they are going to come back again if we go like this. And so that is what has happened. So I have to take a decision in the party. As he said, now 15 years in the party, I have been fighting from the first day. I have not been shy, and your institution knows very well. Every time I spoke, you were there with me. If not for this bond issue, I would have been still there with you all, making the same fight. And I still do the same thing. And I have given the information, and I always take that fight, and I always very straightforward.
Mr. Senasing, I want to draw your attention
Nadeem.
to an article from 2013 in the Sunday Leader. This is an important article because it's the first mention before the 2015 presidential election of a common candidate. In this it says a group of UNP MPs have had secret talks with former President Chandrika Kumaratunga on the future of the UNP, according to well-informed sources. MPs Ashok Abesinghe, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Sujeeva Senasinghe, Thalata Attukorala and Palitha Range Bandara were among those who attended. Talks had gone on for 3 hours and advice was sought on how the UNP can win future elections. During the 3-hour discussion, the former president had reportedly said that there needs to be a leadership change for the UNP to win an election. The MPs had later said that they will consider sitting independently in parliament until there is a proper change in UNP leadership. Kumaratunga had then proposed having a common candidate to contest the next election. The reason that I'm quoting this is, do you feel that if you had, not just yourself, Minister Thalata Attukorala, Minister Palitha Range Bandara, Minister Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Minister Ashok Abesinghe, if you had campaigned, if you had succeeded in pushing out, having this restructuring that you're talking of now, back then in 2013, the UNP might not have even needed a common candidate in 2015.
Definitely.
So I agree with you. Totally
So-
agree with you, but that information is wrong. We never had any discussion with Chandrika Kumaratunga.
But the
Yeah,
former
you're-
president
No, but the
said that
fa-
this meeting happened when President Maithripala Sirisena announced his candidacy as well.
But the discussion would have not gone with Chandrika Kumaratunga, but the fact of the matter was they were going to sit independent.
Yeah. So we
They
were
going to sit
we were
independent.
going to do that.
Not only that, there were about 10 or 15.
Right. It is because of us actually this common candidate came, and because of our fight in the party, from the beginning we took a stance, and because of the stance only this common candidate came. So once the common candidate came, we took a decision that not the best decision at that moment, but the decision that we had to take to support the common candidate. As you said, I wouldn't want to support a common candidate at all.
So on the
UNP had from before 94, we have only been in the opposition only for 5 years maximum. So we don't need it, not my choice to go for and this time I have said no common candidates. We are not going to, I'm going to step out, I will take this decision, but it's a matter of time now. We are considering this. As you said, I have to take a decision whether I'm going to stay inside, or I'm going to join the other party, or I'm going to be like Maitri Gunaratne and fight it from
You can
outside.
join my party.
So
You join.
no, what I have heard.
You mentioned
I have got
Gota
Muslim
Biraj
Party
Paksa as well.
Mrs.
No,
Sujeeva
so that's
Senasinghe.
Gota Biraj Paksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa,
may
Vasudeva
join
Danakara. There are so many people from the other side.
You may join them.
No, that is what happens. Try to understand what I am saying. My English.
Yeah.
If you leave, the choices are there. So I'm not going to I have always said that I'm never going to leave.
But you also
join
have-
another party. So in the party, I have made this struggle, and how many people are there? Sadeep Premdas is there. He's your good friend. Buddhika Bhadrani is there. He's your good friend. Marika is your dear friend from your own institution. I don't know. You have direct links with him. You should ask before asking me. You should call him and then ask him what he's going to do about that. So there are people, and there are people to take decisions. And you give me an example.
That is a good one.
How best we can take those decisions? You're asking me, calling me and asking me. There are people inside your house.
Why do you think the UNP lost the
And you
election
all
this time
supported him,
around?
you all funded him, you did everything.
Why do you think-
Why can't you tell him to take a decision before?
Why do
Set
you
an
think-
example. You
No,
are
why do you
institution.
think? Why do you think, Sujeeva, you all lost the election this time around?
We lost because of blunders made by the Prime Minister. We lost because of the blunders made by the President. By both of them. I told from the beginning. And this is not easy. joining parties together. After 1 or 2 years, even the best of friends tend to start shooting the other person's leg. Inside the boat, I told this to Prime Minister, I told this to President. And when you're not in the same party, this happens, and I will never support a common candidate. And we had to support a common candidate, and that's why we ended up with a common candidate.
Former President and the Prime Minister, everyone is accusing of both of them having a deal between themselves. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know that. I had to be. I have no information on that. No, I don't have information on that.
So this whole thing now, when you say you're not going to support this decision brought in by the joint opposition, the no confidence motion, just because the joint opposition brought it in, as Mr. Gunaratne said, if you take a look at the 14 points, I think 12 of them are regarding the bond scam and 2 of them are regarding the local government election. So, are you looking at it simply on a point of view of politics, joint opposition politics, or UNP future? What is your view?
I'll tell you this, you ask yourself this question. Who's bringing this no confidence motion?
The joint opposition.
Joint opposition, all 99% are rogues, no? Should they be sitting in parliament and bringing a no confidence motion against somebody? First, they must get out on a no confidence motion on their own.
Senasinghe, you all should have brought
That's
the
right.
no
That's
confidence.
right. That's right.
We have brought.
That's right.
We have brought earlier when they were in power, but we never managed to. There were no discussions like this.
Not against the joint opposition,
but against the Prime Minister.
Against the
So
Prime Minister.
one question I'll answer. What I would do is, I would put the same question to you. You find some irregularities in your institution. We
can always quit, Mr. Senasinghe.
No, so you quit, but you have not quit, and it's not perfect also. I know there are so
Mr.
many
Senasinghe, this is
politics
not
happening inside
parliament.
also.
This is not a
but
public
it's not
authority.
easy. It's not because you quit and you can get another job. This is we quit. We have to, as I told you, we have to join the other party, or sit independent like Maitri and just wait, and you can never enter UMP again.
But if,
so we have
if
to take
enough of you all do that, you can make
for
a
us,
change.
I'm the only person who was left in the first fight.
But you must start somewhere.
No, I started for us. Will you start and will you sacrifice your job and stay at home? It's easy to tell people, but if I take it.
But you're not dependent on politics for a living.
I can leave. But my people have voted, and is that what they want? For me to quit and get out, or they want me to stay inside? What I would do inside the party, I have told, we need these changes. And if these changes don't come, I will take action. I told you, you carried that.
Is the situation in the UNP that bad? The largest democratic party in the country.
Everywhere, which party has ousted their leader? Tell me in the world.
But this is
so
different.
They are dependent on the leader for their
Robert Mugabe is an example.
for their this thing, and so it's
Robert
not an easy
Mugabe,
thing.
Robert
The
Mugabe is an
SLFP in
example.
2015
Robert Mugabe, not
ousted
by own party,
Then you
by
have,
outside forces.
Then you have the South African Jacob Zuma.
Mugabe, you have to go by the history.
Jacob Zuma.
Mugabe was by the military.
Jacob Zuma.
But
Jacob Zuma.
we take a Sri Lankan example. In 2015, the SLFP ousted Nadim Rajapaksa and replaced him with Maithripala Sirisena.
No, that is also wrong. That is also let me answer that. Yeah. That was when Maithripala Sirisena became the president.
What about Jacob Zuma was impeached?
And if UMP, Sadip
But
Premadasa becomes the
there's
president,
your best example. Maithripala Sirisena left his party and challenged the incumbent person. It is what we are saying to you, that you must be the catalyst for change.
It's easy for you to say, if Maithripala lost, we wouldn't have been seated here and talking about that same decision that he took.
But that was the determination that
so
saw him through.
determination given by us.
Mr. Senasinghe,
now the time is right for you to recognize that your leader is leading the United National Party down the very slippery hill, right down to an abyss.
I hear you clearly. If I take the same decision Maithripala took, Mr. Maithripala Sirisena took, I would be in 2 weeks' time outside the party. I'll probably have to take a seat with Maitri Gunaratne. I can't make that change. I'm not senior enough to take a decision and join another party and be a common candidate. All what will happen, I have been bold more than Maithripala Sirisena had been seated with Mahinda Rajapaksa approving what he did for 12 years. I didn't do that. Inside the party, I have been, when it's wrong, I have always said it is wrong. I have not done that.
But you're almost doing that now.
No, not almost. Inside the party, I can't. If you have somebody, you have your people there.
But sometimes, Sujiva, sometimes the cost of doing nothing is far greater than doing something.
What would you do if I get out? You will not know me in 2 years' time. You will not. You won't be asking what happened to Sujiva Singer. You sacrifice me.
Maitri Gunaratne is seated next to you.
Yeah, you're calling Maitri Gunaratne now. But after, if somebody comes into power, Maitri Gunaratne won't be seen by you all. And you are using him now because no. Let me. Maitri Gunaratne is honourable and doing what he's doing, and I'm appreciative of that. And
But
because he has not
I
joined the
don't
party.
know why you are being defeatist. You can't be defeatist.
You won't be telling that if UMP comes to power and Maitri Gunaratne is not a part of that. You won't be calling him and asking me where are you now. You will be working with the UMP leadership. They will be the president of the country. Everybody will forget Maitri Gunaratne. You will forget Sujiva Singer. You have sacrificed us as pawns, and something has taken its own.
Not suggesting.
No, can you take a decision? If I ask you, your institution is wrong, will you take a decision? No.
You see, that's not. That
is very similar.
No, but this is a matter of state.
This is the national.
And
private
you
company
know,
and
Maitri,
you're
at the
talking
stage
about-
we have taken a decision.
No, correct. But the point is, Sujiva, now the issue is it has come to such a crunch situation, right, where fraud which has never been seen before has taken place, and are we going to be silent, and are we going to support him to continue this kind of
And what is going to happen
which is causing irreparable damage to the country.
Sujiva, I want to say this to you.
That is the pretense. No, they brought. That is not the reason they have brought this no confidence motion.
What is the reason?
No confidence motion to oust the Prime Minister out of this thing. And they would have had other legal issues before that if they had wanted to bring that. And Mahinda Rajapaksa had not even signed that. And that is how they brought it. They are playing a political game. So the point is, are we going to use that political game and find an answer for UMP?
What about
Are we going to do that or not?
What about the challenge that they are making to say that 15 guys from the United National Party will vote for the no confidence motion?
That I don't know. I can't be talking for others. No.
So you're telling now that you're not one of them.
No, I am not one of them. I'll stand by the party. But inside the party, what you're asking, the change that is needed, I'll fight for that.
What is the situation inside the party? Is there a situation that the United National Party loyalists, the supporters, can look forward for to say, look, okay, at least this guy is talking inside the party. Will there be a change?
There will be a change. There will be a change, and I'm fighting hard for that change. And the future will give answer to that change. I can't.
So 2020 presidential election, there will be a change for the United National Party.
Definitely there will be a change.
Too late.
Mr. Gunaratne, I want to move on to the problems that the UMP is having now with the local government authorities. Today, the Dehiwala Mount Lavinia Municipal Council slipped from its grasp. Yesterday, it was the Galle Municipal Council. The Galle District UNP organizer, Minister Vajira Abewardena, has said that stern disciplinary action will be taken against party members who voted for the SLPP mayor. Do you think this is the right step? Because there are a couple of problems here. One, it was a secret ballot. You're not supposed to know who voted for whom. And two, you're at a point of time where members of the party at the grassroots level are hurling accusations at the party leadership, saying that you're not listening to us. So at a juncture like this, I'm asking you this question because you were also there at the grassroots level and then at provincial council level, before you were also unceremoniously booted out. What do you think about this action and this statement?
This is nothing surprising. This has always been the case in the UNP. He never listens to anyone, and today the UNP leadership and the party has lost control of the party. That's why their members are voting with anyone whom they want to. Otherwise, there was a lot of discipline in the UNP. Today, they have absolutely no regard for the leadership. They are voting exactly the way they want. They will work the way they want, and this leadership is just bringing the party to ruin. That's all.
Now, you
Minister,
see,
your electorate is Kaduela. How many local government authorities fall under that area?
20.
No, local government authorities.
Sorry, one.
Kaduela Municipal.
The Kaduela Municipal Council,
Yeah.
Urban Council. I think. What has been the direction given to UNP members elected in the Kaduela Council?
To stand by the party.
And what is the stand of the party? If by chance your members at the local level reach a deal with one or more of the other parties, what will be your action when it comes to them? Will you stand by those grassroots
I didn't
members?
get you. We are not in power. We are in the minority.
Opposition. There is
Yeah.
opposition.
We are in the minority, a huge minority.
Huge minority.
Yeah,
If they were to vote
right,
on issues with
Right.
the SLPP government there,
right.
there's an SLPP, well, an SLPP mayor,
Mayor.
in the
Right,
Kadwela
right,
you
right.
see. If they were to vote with that mayor or to vote with the SLPP, where would you stand on it? I mean, these are the people who campaign for you as well, because you're the leader of the
Right,
electorate.
right. We'll go by issue by issue. If it's a good cause, we'll support it. If it's a bad cause, I'll tell them to vote against. And I have the control of the, so because we have a lot of democracy. I've got everybody 20 actually out of 28, 27 lost. So we got them to sit down and then ask them to vote each other and give marks to each other. So
Do
out
you
of that,
think that disciplinary action should be taken against the municipal council members in Gaul who voted for the SLPP?
I think you should. If you're controlling a party, you must take action. It doesn't work like in the US or like an advanced country. They don't go by policy. They don't go by each problem. They don't vote like that. In our part of the world, in Asia, we take party decisions and they vote as a party.
You have very little faith in the grassroots UMP members,
Not the grassroots. It's not the grassroots.
municipal council members.
So we have to give directions, or even Parliament. Parliament votes in a similar pattern. The provincial council votes in a. Otherwise, you can't control a party. You can't continue a party in Sri Lanka.
And when there is a policy decision taken by a party, the party members and the councillors should stand
You
by.
have to toe by the. Otherwise,
You can't.
make it a
Otherwise,
party.
it's the total anarchy.
Otherwise, you can.
That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
The UNP now. That's what's
Otherwise,
happening.
you can change a mayor or a sabhapati every week. It depends on the vote. If they lose, the other party will have the choice.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. But before we go, a quick question to Maitri Gunaratna. Maitri, in the world, we see a lot of impeachments or parties taking drastic decisions or radical decisions. We see that happening in South Africa. We saw the impeachment of, the so-called impeachment of Jacob Zuma as the president of that country. Then we went to, let's go to Australia. You see Julia Gillard from the Labour Party, 2010. You had 3 prime ministers after that, Kevin Rudd, Tony Abbott, and even Malcolm Turnbull, all in a span of a few years. Why? Because the parties were very, very powerful. What message does it give the party, the United National Party at large?
Before 94, the constitution, everybody voted for that. So here only the.
No, your question, Zamir, the United National Party, one thing we'll have to take a cue from what has happened around the world, take a decision and see that the party is allowed to go in the right direction. So, especially with regard to this no confidence motion, I hope and pray that people like Mr. Sujiva Senasinghe, who have been very promising members, who have fought hard, I say it with responsibility, right, and a lot of guts during that time, will take the baton and make
Last
this
time
change.
you mentioned about a few people letting you down. He was not one of them.
No.
Was
I never mentioned anyone letting me down. You mentioned it. I categorically said no one has let me down. I categorically said no one has let me down. He continued to say no, you are let me down.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, you can add something to that. But Sujiva, I just want to ask you a quick question as well before we go for a short commercial break. Who is your alternative within the United National Party at present? Who can you look at and say he's going to be the next leader of the party? We know you are one of them.
No, I'm not one of them.
You are not one of them.
You make sure
okay.
I'll be not one of them.
Who is
At the rate
who
you're
is-
going.
who is
You make sure
who
that
is
I'm out
the-
of parliament next
who is
time.
the next? Who is the next?
That's
who is
your
the next
that's your
leadership?
goal. But
Who is the next leader? in
let's
the
see. The
party?
future will decide. My future, I think Sajid Premadasa is the one we could actually think of, and I'll give an answer to the Jacob Zuma and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Actually, if in our party, it is the working committee who takes the decision now. Before 94, it was the parliamentary group, provincial council group, and then the Pradesh Sabha, the executive committee.
Council.
So if that was the case, we would have had a lot of changes during that time. So, but it had been amended. So we have to, if there is a promising change, we'll have to bring back the same constitution that we had, which is more democratic before 94.
Thank
So
you very
those are
much.
things we were fighting for, and in country to country, so party to party, it differs. So that is the change.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your thoughts in the first, second, third, and fourth rounds. We're now going for a short commercial break. When we come back, it's the final round. Stay connected. Stay with Face the Nation. Welcome back. This is Face the Nation, the final round. I start off with Maitri Gunratna. I'm not going to pose a particular question because I need to do justice by Sujiva Sen Singh as well, State Minister of International Trade. I'm not going to pose a question to him as well. So in your concluding remarks, what do you have to say about the UNP and what has transpired over the last 3 years? What corrective action must be taken to move forward? Your time starts now.
Samir, I think what I have had to say about the UNP, I have been saying it for a long time. And in one sentence, if I may say it, the leadership has to change. There is no other radical change which you can make. If tomorrow Ranil Wickremesinghe goes, the UNP becomes a potent force. That's all. The other thing is, Samir, with regard to the no confidence motion, there are a lot of speculation that they are going to defeat it, and Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe will continue. So therefore, we have decided now to start a march or a walk from Kandy from the 31st of this month, ending on the 4th. We are trying to get the support of all parties, all civil organizations, all citizens who care for this country and who need to come and put their effort in making this a success, because the central bank robbery affects every one of us. If you take the EPF, you take the ETF, you take the insurance trust fund, all those monies are monies which people have worked, toiled all their life, saved it. Those monies also have been squandered and wasted. The central bank report says 8.5 billion of those monies have been spent, and this is without a forensic audit. So vis-a-vis that, we need to make this change. We need to defeat the mastermind of the central bank issue. And if we cannot do it, this country is doomed. So I am not looking at positions. I am not looking at what I have had, what I have held. We are just putting everything we have into this to march forward and see that this change is made so that this country will be a better place. As politicians, as people who owe a responsibility to this country, I think all of us must get together and make this change. And if we make this change, I think this is a God's own country. We can take this forward without any problem.
Do we see a glimmer of hope, at least a light at the end of this dark tunnel for Sri Lanka?
No, the glimmer of hope will be seen if people like Sujiva Sen Singhe start fighting again, get rejuvenated and fighting again, because they are in parliament, they can make the difference.
Do you think he'll join your march, which is going to happen in a few days?
I will be inviting him after this.
You will
and
be inviting him?
We hope many of the UNP parliamentarians will join the march. That's why we are having the march. They can come, we'll show the people, we'll show the country that the people are against this kind of arbitrary conduct of the Prime Minister, and then even the UNP MPs will get strength to go forward and support this no confidence motion, whoever has bought it, whether it's the JO, BO or CO, whoever has bought it, and win the no confidence motion and send the Prime Minister who has caused so much of irreparable damage to this country home.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maitri Gunratna, General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front. Just a reminder again to Sujiva Sen Singhe that Maitri Gunratna has formed his own party now, by the way, and not crossed over, but yes. So moving on to you, Sujiva. As I said before, I'm not going to pose a question to you, but I give you 3 minutes for your concluding remarks as well. But touch on the future of Sri Lanka, touch on where we're heading as a nation, and what must we really do, at least now? How must we gather ourselves and move forward? Your time starts now.
Humble request I'm making. We are young politicians. We have not robbed. I have always done the right thing. I have been principled. I have always stood by what I believe. So don't have this ex parte defamatory destroying young politicians like us. It's a humble request. And I would take the challenge. Your Satana program, 10 of you all, just by myself. I stand by what I have done in the book, in the co, and give us opportunity when you do that, because if you destroy us, there won't be young politicians in this country to represent UMP or Sri Lanka. And I would say I have always done the right thing. and as everybody is aware, UMP, we have a problem, and we have always spoken, we have been very straightforward. I have always done the fight, Maitri has done the fight from outside, I have done this fight from inside the party. And I have done that, and what you can do is support people like us. Avoid pretending that nothing is happening and we are not doing it right. You know we are doing it right, but sometimes this petty politics which you all also get into, sometimes you have your favorites, sometimes you make probably think that we are against a certain issue, but I would always stand by what is right, and we won't protect people who have robbed. I have never protected anybody who has robbed, and if it's legal action, we will support legal action for anybody who has done wrong. But what I have done from the beginning, which was within my purview, the information that I have got, and I can substantiate with all the documentation I have here. You always talk about a chronological order. That order is the first report, and then the Supreme Court order, and then a Cope Gunasekara's determination, and then my book, and then after that another Cope review, and after that the commission report. So the commission has been very clearly, that's what I want to show you. All the footnotes they have held, that it is spot on. And why can't you, as a responsible media institution, why couldn't you say that the notes, all the footnotes are held by the commission as right, as correct? It's a very simple request I am making. If you had said that it is wrong, if you had said that we have done something wrong, and if the commission, 2 judges, responsible judges have said that all what we have done is right, why can't you have just 2 minutes to say that we were wrong and these footnotes are right? Despite that, always challenging us, always giving up, circling my face on your TV screen and saying that we have done the wrong thing, we have not supported the robbers, which is totally unfair. And we would do the right thing by the party, we would do the right thing by the country, and I always done that. I've always had self-respect, I've always had principles, and I'll work on that, and I wish and hope the people will be, the public will be with us, and you will be also with us. You have done a wonderful job, your institution, for a long time, and we asked you to do the same thing in the future.
Very quickly, would you join Maitri Gunaratna's walk, which is going to happen in a few days from now?
No, I won't join that walk, but I will do my fight inside the party.
So Maitri, 1 minus, by the way, for information.
Are you joining?
Me as an individual, or
as
individual? As an individual, I don't think I will. I probably would tell Maitri later on after the show is over.
2 minus then. 2 minus.
2 minus. Probably I also may not join. Probably I'll be hosting the show that evening and talking about the issues that probably Maitri Gunaratna is fighting for on that very day. Thank you very much, Maitri, for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much, Sujiva Senasinghe, for accepting our invitation and joining us this evening on the show. And thank you very much, Faraz, Chaturanga, and Nadeem. I also have to conclude tonight's show mentioning the fact that we will always stand by what is right. Just as Sujiva Senasinghe said in his remarks, we believe that the truth would ultimately prevail in Sri Lanka. We now have all the proceedings in court. Whoever is responsible for the central bank bond controversy have to be brought before book, and that is a fact. Because it is the money of you and I at home at the end of the day. We are paying the debt, and we are paying for the future of this nation. So we stand by what we always report. If we've mentioned someone's name, we've done it with authority and responsibility. You can always take us to court if you think we have done something wrong, but most of you have not done so because we are always right. I leave you tonight with a quote, as I always do. There are 4 ingredients in true leadership. One is soul, heart, good nerves, and then comes brains. Take care and good night.